I'm Andrew Tracey. I'm the former director of this institute, which was founded by my father, Hugh Tracey, in 1954. And I've been retired now for some years. Now, I want to talk about Africa's unique instrument, which is the Mbira, only found in Africa. And there are many, many varieties of Mbira all over Africa, from very small, like some of these I'm looking at, down up to quite big ones. And mostly they're used for entertainment, for solo entertainment. But in a certain area, in the Zambezi Valley area, they're used for spiritual. They are spiritual. They belong to the spirits. The songs are spiritual songs. So we tend to think that the Mbira probably originated in the Zambezi Valley area. And it must have happened some time at least more than 1,000 years ago, probably double that. And according to my research, this little instrument and others like it is probably the earliest form of Mbira. It's got 8 notes, forget about those ones, 8 notes. Those 8 notes. Da, 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 da. Now you can find those 8 notes at the root of all the other tuning plans, of all the other Mbiras, which are played in the Zambezi Valley area. This one is called Kalimba. And you see it's played, you play it over a little gourd for resonance. This is one that I play a little better. And there's a membrane over the back of the instrument which gives the buzz, which most African instruments tend to like a buzz on them. It's used for entertainment and for fun, but you can tell stories with this too. That song I just sang is about a man whose wife was about to be attacked by a lion, and he couldn't do anything because the lion was too powerful, so he played his Mbira, and the lion began to dance. Chaka 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 cha chaka cha chaka cha chaka cha chaka cha 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 chaka 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 chaka. And the man was able to run away, and with his wife he escaped. Yeah, that's a Zimbabwean instrument, and that's the area I focused on mostly, on the little instruments, and the bigger ones we'll come to. Some of the other little instruments are played in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, across to southern Angola and Namibia. These are all the ones from that area. They change their layouts. Some of them put the low notes on the left, like that one. Most of them have the low notes in the center. There's so many different types, I don't have to give you all the details. These are the Namibian ones. which have a special habit of tuning by putting lumps of wax underneath the keys. So you can change the tuning if you want, just by, and there's this piece of spare wax there, you see. These are all part of the kalimba family. And let's stick with the Zambezi Valley Mbiras. These other ones are not that area. Move over to this side. These are the spiritual Mbiras of the Zambezi Valley area. And first you get karimbas, which are an enlarged version of that little instrument. This is a larger karimba. This is the one I played. I played it for many years around the world in a show called Wait a Minute. If I had a hammer in the morning, had a hammer in the evening, all over this land, and so on. So you can sing other sorts of music with it, but the real music, first song I ever learned, Kanandoda kuramba murumu ndoshereketa. Kanandoda kuramba murumu ndoshereketa. That's a song sung by a husband who said, if I ever wanted to divorce my wife, I would be very unhappy. So it's like a love song. It always appealed to me, this song, because it's in 5 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. This is the one on which I learned, first of all, how to play the kalimba from my old friend Jegita Pera, and he went on to become the first teacher at the College of African Music in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. Well, from the kalimba, many other mbiras developed. The first one I think I should point to is this one, which has hit the whole world now. This is the Zawadzimu, Mbira Zawadzimu, Mbira of the ancestors. It's been particularly picked up by Americans on the west coast of the States. It's got this finger hole. Very popular around the world. Now, that's a spiritual instrument. It's used in ceremonies, all-night ceremonies called Mbira, where the Mbira is played and the ancestor spirits are called, and you play the songs which those spirits recognized from when they were alive. So you must play them right. That's an influence on continuity, because you must play in the old style. Which doesn't mean to say that they don't make new tunes. They're always making new tunes. And these instruments are now being played with guitars and keyboards and modern instruments. which has changed the tuning quite noticeably. Original tuning, this is very ancient tuning with unusual arrangement of notes. You probably won't hear the difference. For a proper performance, you need at least two players playing together. And when you play together with any African instrument, you don't usually play what the other person's playing. You must play a different rhythm so they blend. So there are, in this case, there are fixed ways in which the leader and the answerer blend their music together. The notes must interlock, the rhythm must be different. So that's a great success story, one of the few in Africa of ancient instruments achieving success in the modern world. This is played everywhere, in Japan, in Europe, all over. And now there are people in America making beautiful examples of these. These are all the same family. There are varieties, and now in Zimbabwe it's become so popular that people are inventing new designs for it and new tunings. This is one of the new tunings with more double notes on top than before. Then you have the Venda in South Africa, who moved away from the Shona in Zimbabwe several hundred years ago, and their version is like a left-handed version, all the bass notes on the right instead of on the left. They're one of the few peoples in South Africa who actually play the Mbira. And this is the same instrument with the left-hand version of the Venda. And then other versions also developed over the centuries in Zimbabwe. This is one of them. This is called a nyonga nyonga. This is one of the Mbiras that's really dying out in Africa. Very, very few people left who play nyonga nyonga. All played for spirits. That's another nyonga nyonga. The pedi, that's the northern Sotho in South Africa, this is one of their instruments. Oddly, they play it with their fingers, as if they didn't quite learn it directly person to person. Unlike all the other Mbiras in Southern Africa, this one is a pentatonic scale. But most of the peoples in South Africa have pentatonic scales, so it's an adaptation of the original kalimba to a pentatonic scale. That's another pedi Mbira. And then one development that I spent a little more time on is the machepe. You play this inside a big gourd for extra resonance. This one's a bit hard to hold and play, you need to sit down. On a cold winter morning, it's not easy to play the Mbira. You need to be warmed up by the fire or by the sun. This one doesn't come back to me, but I used to play it quite well. Jeffrey will play a bit for it. Yeah.
And if you play the other fingers, it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, when you're playing this, you're playing 4 rhythms at once. You're playing 2 against 3 with this hand, and this hand interlocks with this hand. Not to go too much into this technical detail of Mbira rhythms. Now let's just go back to this.
Would they play just Mbira, or would there be drums and shakers and percussion?
If you say drums, shakers usually, but if you play drum with Mbira, it tends to drown it.
No, exactly.
In some occasions you play one drum, but very softly. You play a drum like that one.
Yeah.
Mutuba, the ancestor of the Congo. These instruments are not pretty much in tune. But very delicately, but a rattle is the normal thing. Rattle with Mbira.
There's a tuba.
Well, there are other types. This one is called, this is played in central Mozambique. It's called Mana Mbudzi, which means goat's teeth. Goat's teeth. Because apparently it looks as if it's got teeth missing, but it hasn't, of course. So there's this whole family of interrelated Mbiras in this central area, which were united by politics in the period from 1000 to about 1800. For quite a few hundred years there was this centralized kingdom, or several kingdoms, one out there. Monamatapa was the name of one of them. That was the kingdom that the Portuguese first came across when they arrived in the 15th century at the mouth of the Zambezi River. And they found chiefs having groups of musicians playing Mbira for them. And they wrote a very clear description of the instrument, so we know that they were playing Mbiras. Well, there's a lot of fascination in this. They have hundreds of different tunes, and there's a musical system which unites them, which is unique in Africa because it's built on harmony. Now, a lot of people say African music got no harmony. That's far from the truth. This is a harmonic system which uses all the chords of a 7-note scale. That would be 7 different chords, and they're aligned in different orders according to the different tune. Now, this means that non-Shona people often say all the music sounds the same. All Shona music sounds the same. Of course, it doesn't when you get into it. It's the order in which the chords come which tell you what the different tune is, and the rhythmic aspect, and of course the words. Every song has different words too. Then if you go a little bit wider than these Mbiras in this family that I've studied, rest of Africa also has lots of Mbiras. Spreading mainly from the Zambezi Valley and also from the western Congo, near the mouth of the Congo River. That was the instrument family called Likembe. These are makembe. These all likembe. They have a particular way of being manufactured. They have this hollow back here. It's a hollow instrument, so you can get you get a vibrato sound. They often have one key longer like that, and it's often tuned in that way, like our modern kalimba. These likembe were thought to originate near the mouth of the Congo River, and then when the Belgians came, their porters used to play likembe, and that brought it right through the Congo, and it spread into Uganda, into southern Sudan, into Kenya, into Tanzania, into Malawi. So this is a very widespread instrument, the likembe. If you visit Victoria Falls, you'll find people there playing likembe. And these are other likembes from Tanzania. Now this is a completely different family. This is an instrument of the Khoisan people. They have a 4-note scale. They tune octaves next to each other. And they play very quietly and delicately in the vast expanses of the Kalahari Desert. And then there are many more kinds of Mbira. We don't have examples of every African Mbira here. This is one that's become quite famous. And who is it? It's Mark, I think, who has one of these. This is a malimba from Tanzania of the Gogo people. These notes in the middle are not played, they're just kept as a tuning reference. That's Gogo people in Tanzania. In Uganda, Akogo.
In Uganda, we call it Akogo.
Akogo.
Yes, it has 3 names: Akogo, Likeme, and Kadongo.
Yes.
The Basoga, they call it Kadongo.
And this was a quartet
Yes,
that
Kadongo.
my father recorded in Uganda a long time ago. 1, 2, 3, 4 instruments all tuned together, playing fast, very exciting music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe can I just this one?
Yes.
Magulu maka, magulu maka, magulu maka, magulu maka, magulu maka, magulu maka. Yeah. That is the alto. Thank you.
The alto, you say?
Sorry?
What did you say? The alto.
There.
That is the what?
When that comes from Iteso. Iteso tribe, yeah, from the eastern part of Uganda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, Albert,
Yes.
When do people play this? What do they play for? Why do they play?
They play this instrument on when you go to eat this tribe, the Iteso, they use this instrument as a transport means.
Transport.
Yes, someone when he's traveling far miles, many miles, he uses this instrument, and playing and walking.
Yeah.
He will not feel the journey.
The distance.
Yeah.
How many miles can you walk with one song?
20.
20 miles
20
with
miles
one song.
on one song, not changing.
It's good efficiency.
Yeah. And also they use it also for when they are drinking. They call mokomboti, and that local Sogam beer.
Yeah.
So when they feel like happy, so they bring out these instruments, and usually it's performed in the set of between 12 and 15.
Performance.
Yes, and of these instruments. And it feels like a band. And there's another thumb piano which is bigger than this. Plays the bass and someone sitting on it, and the one is hitting side and one playing the notes.
Yeah.
Feel doom, 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 and people are dancing and enjoying until the next day.
Until the next day.
Yeah.
Yes, it's part of the Likembe family that
Exactly.
goes right across into the continent.
Exactly. That's where it came from originally.
Yes. In metal, with metal keys. But we do know that in Zimbabwe, the people used to make toy instruments which don't have any sound for children to play on. So I think there's possibly a chance it might originally have been vegetable matter. And in one part in Cameroon, they still play an instrument which is all vegetable matter.
Yeah, right.
Okay. This one makes a buzz with this little piece of grass that's stuck on top of the note with beeswax here. This is another 4-note scale. People often ask, what do these African instruments have buzzes for? And they try to get rid of the buzz so it sounds clean, but it doesn't sound right. African instruments very often have a buzz on them. Or if they don't have their own buzz, they add bells, like in Nigeria on those drums over there, they add a bell